What if I told you Australia once planned to sink its desert under a shimmering sea, and it almost worked? Picture this: a scorched red wasteland, cracked under a relentless sun, transformed into a turquoise ocean stretching to the horizon. For over a century, dreamers, engineers, and politicians have chased a $200 billion vision to flood Australia's outback, turning its arid heart into a Mediterranean-style paradise. This wasn't just a wild idea, it nearly happened. And now, whispers of its revival are stirring again, promising to reshape the continent forever. But here's the catch: not everyone wants this dream to come true. Let's dive into a story that's equal parts ambition, science, and controversy. A tale that could change Australia as we know it. 100 million years ago, Australia wasn't the dry continent we know today. It was a submerged world, covered by the Eromanga Sea, a vast ocean teeming with prehistoric marine life. Imagine plesiosaurs gliding through warm waters, their long necks cutting through waves where today only dust and salt remain. Geological records show this ancient sea stretched across what's now the outback, leaving behind fossils and sediment that whisper of a wetter past. NASA's satellite maps reveal faint outlines of ancient coastlines etched into the earth like a memory. For the Arabana people, who've lived here for 65,000 years, these lands hold stories of creation, not just science. Their dreaming tales speak of water shaping the world. This wasn't about creating something new, it was about reviving what once was. But what if that ancient sea could return, not by nature's hand, but by human will? Enter John Bradfield, the engineering genius who gave Australia the Sydney Harbour Bridge. In the 1930s, he dreamed bigger than bridges. He proposed a plan so bold it rivaled the Panama Canal, a 300-kilometer network of canals to divert Queensland's mighty rivers, swollen by tropical rains, into the heart of the outback. The goal? Create a massive inland sea around Codithanda Lake Eyre, Australia's largest salt lake. Bradfield believed this sea would cool the scorching interior, trigger rainfall, and turn barren deserts into fertile farms. Hydropower stations would light up new towns, and ships would sail where only kangaroos roamed. Schematics from the era show a web of channels cutting through the continent, a blueprint for a greener Australia. Politicians called it a game changer. Farmers saw salvation. But Bradfield's grand vision was about to collide with a brutal opponent: the laws of physics. Australia's outback doesn't play nice with big dreams. Bradfield's plan needed water, lots of it. Scientists estimated it would take 600 Sydney Harbours worth to fill Codithanda Lake Eyre and keep it full. That's a mind-boggling volume, enough to drown entire cities. Then came evaporation. The outback's relentless sun would suck up water faster than rivers could supply it, leaving behind a salty, lifeless crust. Picture the Dead Sea, but bigger and emptier. Salt accumulation was another killer. Rivers would dump minerals, turning the dream sea into a toxic brine. By the 1940s, critics tore the plan apart. It was too expensive, too impractical, and too risky. The nation mourned a dream that promised so much but delivered nothing. Bradfield's vision sank under the weight of hard science. But the idea refused to die, because now new tech is rewriting the rules. Fast forward to the 2020s, and the dream is back, shinier than ever. Modern engineers aren't relying on rivers alone. They're talking solar-powered desalination, massive plants pumping purified water from the Spencer Gulf into the outback. A 2024 proposal by Nigel Reading, published on Medium, outlines a neo-Bradfield scheme. Interconnected lakes, forests, and clean-tech towns sprouting around Codithanda Lake Eyre. The pitch? This inland sea could boost rainfall by creating lake-effect weather, ease Australia's brutal droughts, and power green energy projects like algae farms and biofuel towers. Some ex-posts claim the government's quietly exploring it, spurred by the lake's rare 2025 flooding after Tropical Cyclone Alfred. CSIRO's been floated as a potential modeler, though no official word confirms it. The vision sounds like science fiction brought to life, but not everyone's cheering, especially the people who've called this land home for 60,000 years. Codithanda Lake Eyre isn't just a salt flat, it's the heart of Arabana culture. For 65,000 years, the Arabana people have woven their dreaming stories into this land, where ancestors and spirits reside. Elder Aaron Stewart once said, "Our stories are written in this land. You can't drown them." The lake is sacred, a place of law and learning. In 2012, the Arabana won native title, giving them a say over their country. But 2025 brought tension. After record floods drew tourists, the South Australian government banned walking on the lake bed to protect its fragile crust and honor Arabana wishes. Some, like the Lake Air Yacht Club, pushed back, arguing the rules are hard to enforce. Colleen Strangways, from the Arabana Aboriginal Corporation, welcomes visitors but begs respect. Enjoy it, but don't tread on our stories. Flooding the lake permanently could erase millennia of culture. So what happens if Australia ignores the warnings and floods the outback? Imagine the pumps start tomorrow. Year 1, desalinated water floods Kati Thanda Lake Air, turning salt flats into turquoise pools. Birds flock from as far as Siberia and wildflowers carpet the desert. Year 10, new ecosystems emerge, fish thrive but salt creeps in. Coastal towns pop up, real estate booms and lake effect rains green the outback. Year 50, a network of cities rises powered by solar farms and biofuel towers. The desert looks like a sci-fi oasis, with ships docking where dust once ruled. But risks loom. Evaporation could outpace water supply, leaving a salty wasteland. Overambitious plans might drain national coffers. And the Arabana's sacred sites, submerged forever. The simulation paints a dazzling future, but it's a tightrope walk over disaster. Other countries tried this before. Some won, some lost spectacularly. Look at the Aral Sea in Uzbekistan. Once the world's fourth largest lake, it was drained by Soviet irrigation in the 1960s. By 2000, it lost 90% of its water, leaving ghost towns, toxic dust storms, and a ruined economy. Egypt's Toshka lakes aim to turn deserts into farms by diverting Nile water. It half-worked, some lakes formed, but evaporation and poor planning limited success. Then there's Lake Kariba, straddling Zambia and Zimbabwe. Built in the 1950s, it's a hydropower and fishing triumph, but displaced thousands and disrupted ecosystems. These projects teach hard lessons. Water megaprojects can reshape nations or break them. Australia's plan could soar like Kariba or crash like the Aral Sea. The stakes are sky high, but Australia's dreaming bigger. Think solar cities and sci-fi metropolises. Picture this: algae farms glowing green under solar panels, biofuel towers piercing the sky, and Dubai-style skyscrapers rising from the outback. The Neo-Bradfield plan envisions clean tech hubs powered by renewable energy, a nod to Saudi Arabia's Neom, a $500 billion city betting on a carbon-neutral future. Anime fans might call it a titan rising in the desert, a bold strike against nature's limits. X-posts buzz with excitement about futuristic outback cities. Picture the pumps firing up tomorrow. Year 1, desalinated water floods Kati Thanda, turning white salt into turquoise pools. Wildflowers bloom and pelicans swarm. Year 10, fish thrive, but salt creeps in. New towns sprout, real estate skyrockets, and rains green the desert. Year 50, solar-powered cities gleam, ships dock, and the outback feels like a sci-fi Eden. But cracks show. Evaporation drains water faster than expected. Costs spiral. Sacred Arabana sites lie underwater. It's a dazzling vision, but one misstep could turn it into a salty ruin. Others tried this, some soared, some crashed. History's littered with water megaprojects, some glorious, some grim. The Aral Sea in Uzbekistan was once a vast lake, until Soviet irrigation drained 90% of it by 2000, leaving ghost towns and toxic dust. Egypt's Toshka lakes diverted Nile water to the desert, but fizzled under evaporation and poor planning. Lake Kariba, spanning Zambia and Zimbabwe, powers nations with hydropower, but displaced thousands. China's South-North water transfer moves 25 billion cubic meters yearly, easing droughts but harming rivers. Each teaches a lesson. Big water bets can reshape nations or break them. Australia's plan could be a triumph or a tragedy. So will it build a sci-fi future or a salty ruin? Australia's $200 billion dream to flood the outback is a saga of ambition, science, and sacrifice. From Bradfield's 1930s canals to today's solar-powered revival, the idea of an inland sea has gripped dreamers for a century. It promises greener lands, new cities, and a cooler climate. But the Arabana people remind us, this land holds 65,000 years of stories, sacred and irreplaceable. Should a billion-dollar fantasy erase that legacy? Global projects like the Aral Sea and Lake Kariba show both glory and ruin are possible. Australia might one day build its sea, but at what cost? This video took 80 hours of research. If you found it valuable, hit like, drop a comment, and tell us the next impossible mega project we should explore. Stay curious, stay reasonable. What would you flood to reshape a continent?